Hello,
Yeah.
everyone, and welcome to another episode with Coach Kat. We are here today with an amazing soul that just loves to give. No matter where she's at, who she's talking to, she's always got a piece of advice. So, without taking it any further, let me introduce you to Mariana.
You're
Welcome.
making me blush. Hello, thank you for having me. Very exciting. You're making me blush already.
I feel like we're dating already.
Oh my goodness. Love it first sight.
So, so let's talk about your specialty. And I think this is something that I'm so excited about doing because myself, I'm a coach, and I know you have so much to offer and so much advice that is tailored for coaches that I couldn't pass up the chance. So, tell me what started your interest of first in the entrepreneurial journey. How did you get started? What type of challenges have you faced, and how did you get to want to work or to have so much advice for coaches?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, so I have to make a bit of a disclaimer. I'm currently not taking on any clients within the coaching industry because I need to focus on taking clients in industries that are more pertaining to other interests, particularly if they're selling products online or if they are kind of like brokerage firms, this kind of stuff. Then I'm focusing on helping them with their digital marketing in that area. But I do have a lot of experience working with coaches. And so because of that, I'm very happy to give some free digital marketing advice so that I can put this knowledge to help give it some use.
Thank you, and
Yeah,
we'll take it.
awesome. Yeah. I'm retiring from the coaching industry, but at the same time, let's use this knowledge for great things. And if any coaches want to have a chat with me, I love you guys, and I love to see women really succeed in this industry. So, very cool.
Thank you.
Love the female entrepreneurs. Love giving back.
That's one. So tell me what started you on the entrepreneurial journey.
Oh, I would say I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur to the point of being an entrepreneur junkie since being a very small child. I'm a woman of just so many interests. And so, very early in life, I realized that I would probably end up working for myself and just following so many of my passions. And so, because of that, I'm very self-employed.
And it's a beautiful thing, but I also think it's so challenging that a lot of people don't realize it. That, it's taking on, a lot of people think that, you're taking off some things, and obviously you're taking off the limitations of working on a 9 to 5 job. But when you work for yourself, you are responsible from A to Z. Every single thing that, it's about your business. And, this is one of the things that I struggled with is marketing because, I'm good at what I do as a coach and helping people, overcome their challenges, let go of the past and achieve breakthroughs. But when it comes to, selling things online, developing websites, getting the data and all that fun stuff, I feel like I'm two left feet. So,
Okay, a lot of the things that I say when I speak to clients is that you don't have to do everything. You're in business for yourself because you've found something that you're really great at and you want to put your passions and your talent into creating something that benefits the people around you. And so in that way, you're not expected to also become a master of marketing.
no, but it helps.
It does help. And I really sympathize, especially with coaches, because a lot of you have to almost learn marketing as well in order to put yourself out there, position yourself, and really let people build a relationship with you through social media marketing. And I understand how important it is to just step out of your comfort zone constantly in making yourself really visible. And so that's why I really want to give back as much as I can to coaches with the advice that I have to offer. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so let's dive into that. Where do we start?
So to start with, it's really important to make sure that you are very consistent with just showing up on social media. And that could be through going Facebook Live, or if you're not so comfortable with the live aspect, then through perhaps recording videos and through just checking in, especially in the coaching industry. You're helping people solve their problems. And so if you're also sharing a bit about yourself and how you're approaching maybe conquering certain goals in your life, and people are able to see how things unravel with you, then they build that connection with you.
Right, and it's so important. It's so important for people to understand that, even if you are great at what you do, you don't have it all figured out. And, how you overcome those challenges, and by, documenting the way you do and posting it out there is the way you actually relate to the people you want to work with. That's really true.
Certainly. Yes. That's something I learned in my industry too, like just providing digital marketing services. Like, I'm not a coach at all. Sometimes my job borders on being a coach, incidentally. But I learned so much from the entrepreneurs, the clients that I take on for marketing. And a lot of the clients that I have are from so many different industries. And it's just so amazing how much they share about their knowledge within their industry with me. So I just so conscious of the fact that whether you're a coach or you're a consultant, you really attract the clients in your life that are matching your vibe and your energy. And that's really cool. It's really exciting to
Absolutely.
see. Mm-hmm.
So, what do you feel that coaches are doing that isn't working, or it's working against them?
Um, I I understand that a lot of coaches are maybe frustrated because they're struggling to stand out and kind of find their edge, find their positioning, and kind of fine tune a program that resonates with their ideal or potential clients. And so it's just so important for coaches to kind of come to terms with what it is that they have to offer that makes them stand out, and kind of make a program. Um, I think the coaching industry is so fluid in that I was speaking to a wonderful lady yesterday who she said, but I'm getting people who are contacting me to help them with problems in so many different areas than my niche. And I said, that's great. That's all positive. And that's because you're showing up in a way where people remember you, and they're making such a personal connection with you that they think of you when they have these problems. So it's not necessarily that you have to niche down, but at the same time, by speaking about your kind of like divine positioning and what you have to offer, people will think of you when they have a problem and that they want to work on.
It's really important. I find that, especially working with entrepreneurs myself, I find it that what I call the genius zone is it's such an important thing to do if you want to have a straightforward message, if you want to provide people with a plan, and you want to show people that you know what you're doing. You don't want to just show up and be a cheerleader. You want to actually solve something, have a system in place, offer them some sort of guarantee that if they work with you, they're not just wasting their money or their time, or both of them. So
Mm-hmm.
how do people how can people be authentic through their marketing?
How can coaches be authentic? Just be your fabulous self and just show up. Make videos. Just make content that's sharing who you are, and how no one else can be you. There's no one else can mimic or replicate you.
Right, but you do suggest of them being authentic and not just, pretending to be something that people want to buy. How easy is it to spot a person that, puts up a persona online and then, they're completely a fake under, like, behind the screens or
It's easy to spot. But I think in a positive light, it's really important for coaches to, what was I going to say in my brain? Getting a brain fog. Okay, how easy is it to spot a fake? It's super easy. But at the same time, I'm noticing that we feel as coaches or consultants that we have to make content or we have to show up in a certain way for our clients. But in the end, once we start to get experience in these industries, after a couple of years providing digital marketing services and having so many different clients in so many different industries, I'm so conscious of the fact that the vibe and the place that I'm in, the mindset that I'm in, is what determines the types of clients that I attract. And it's just so interesting when you look at it that way and you start to accept that. Then you start to feel more confident in the content that you're putting out there, because I don't think that it's a good idea to worry about what potential clients, how the stuff that you're putting out is going to attract potential clients. Like, don't be afraid to be polarizing. And so in that sense, like, don't worry that some of the stuff that you're putting in your content is going to turn people off, because it's just going to help attract the right people for you.
absolutely. So for someone starting out as a coach, where do you even begin with the marketing?
Okay, so it's super important to make sure that you're just making a strong effort to be visible to your ideal client. So some coaches work within certain niches where maybe it attracts only clients within a specific generation, or it could be location dependent. And so certain platforms are going to be more appropriate than others. For example, in the UK, I wouldn't necessarily suggest coaches focus on Twitter if they want UK-based clients, because it's just not a platform that will help generate ideal clients for that coach. Or if you want to take international clients, then you could actually get some great results from looking at Pinterest. So it really depends on who your target audience is.
Oh, wow. See, I'm learning something, every day. And in your opinion, because I know that there's so much talk around the topic of a niche, which I think a lot of people, and myself included, when I started out, I was a all-purpose coach, and I could handle because everything comes down to our psychology, our patterns, and things like that. But I again, talking about niche, I had to position myself in a way that I spoke to a specific audience in order to become specialized or stand out from the masses. How important do you find it as a marketer, and from the advice standpoint, that a coach or consultant should do that for their business, for their success?
Okay, so actually this is interesting, because it's basically, it doesn't matter on the industry. When you're approaching specific marketing campaigns, you have to consider that you're going to get the best results from narrowing down your customer avatar to the smallest data set. So what I mean by this is that if you know that your ideal customer has very a small, you can narrow it down, you can brainstorm it down to these are their interests, this is their behaviors, they're commonly looking online at these sort of brands, or they like to look at travel magazines, and if you know a lot of the typical behaviors of your ideal client, then you will get good results from targeting people of those interests. And so I'm talking about ads here. So in that way, it's always important if you're using digital marketing to find clients, customers, that you kind of niche down in a way to your ideal customer avatar. But then in the coaching industry, like I'm not a coach. I don't know. I just think rather than focus on niching down, it's just really important to make sure that you're showing up and you're giving content that really resonates with your audience.
Right, and I think in a sense,
relationship.
niching is that, because when you create content, if you put it out on, there's different types of advice for, whatever niche, and there's some that apply to all of them. But when you know exactly what you're talking about, like for example, mine, if it's mindset, it's much better than I can talk about, fitness or things like that. So I think it really matters, at least from my perspective, and from my experience as a coach. I noticed that I don't call it a niche, I call it a specialty. I think it's
Okay.
much more beautiful. I just find the term niche very restricting, and I think that's where a lot of coaches get hang up on. But I found it that it's absolutely a must to have a specialty, because you waste a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of investment of yourself into things that aren't going to yield results, which after all, in the end, a lot of coaches give up because of that, because they think, well, I
Yeah.
can't make it, or they're really depending on the amount of money that they make, and because they won't see those money coming in, they're gonna think that, well, is something wrong with me. It's not. It's just how the whole marketing and the whole online platform works. So take your time. If you need to find a voice, you don't have to stick with it. Just do it, for 3 months at a time, and figure out where you resonate the best. I mean, I've worked with people, from anxiety to depression to relationships, and I tried different things until I figured that I really, really love working with entrepreneurs, because they have a great voice. They have a lot to offer. People need their help, but the
Mm-hmm.
statistics are so bad. I mean, there's coaches that don't literally, less than 1% makes it past the 2 year mark. And
Okay.
not only that, is that within those first 2 years, I can't even remember. It's just the percentage is so small of the people that actually make an income
Mm-hmm.
out of in their business as a coach. So
Mm-hmm.
this is where I find that, again, the specialty or the niche, however you want to call it, it's really, really important, because it's going to help you get some sort of results. It's going. I always talk about focus. The difference between a light bulb or a laser. A light bulb can light up a room, but a laser can cut through steel. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to have that laser focus, so you can see how you can bring in customers that resonate with your specific message.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think like the statistics facing just entrepreneurs in general are not that encouraging. And so it's just so important to understand that when we start a business, it's really common for us to experience imposter syndrome. And I see this in a lot of coaches when they embark on their journey to try to get clients internationally through their efforts through social media. And so I really sympathize with the imposter syndrome that I feel like I can see that they're going through. And this is just something that you have to conquer, because I think coaches are so well intentioned, and you go into this business because you want to make a career out of helping people. And so there's this interesting contrast, because you want to be people's guardian angel, but then
You have to charge them
a lot of
money.
coaches go through this really hard imposter syndrome phase where they just beat themselves up, and they don't want to be visible, and it's
I,
it's difficult.
I'm super
I
happy that you
sympathize.
actually brought that up. It's just so common, and my clients, that's something that we tackle first, because if you can't see your value, you're not going to be able to show it. It's not going to transpire, whether it's in your messaging, whether it's in your conversation with your clients. You're not going to be able to close those sales when you make the calls because of that imposter syndrome. So it's you know basically just overcoming some limiting beliefs that you were trained that you have to work hourly, you have to, you're only worth so much. But the truth is we are priceless, and if someone else has done it and is charging a lot more money, then you can too. And it's just I'm really happy that you brought that up, and I really love working with people on that.
That's great. Yeah. Good. I'm glad.
So, what other tips do you have for people that, want to post an ad, or they want to, let's say they have figured out their avatar? How do they get the
Okay.
best results?
So, once a coach has started to consistently show up and be visible and start to really share their messaging with their social audience and build a social audience that's kind of just watching them on a regular basis, then they can start to think about how they might want to approach their social media with marketing campaigns. And so I want to stress the importance of having an email list, because Facebook could shut down, computers could disappear off the face of the earth. No. But if you have an email list, that's something that you always have. You own that. That can never be taken away from you, regardless if your Facebook got shut down and your Twitter got hacked. I don't know, but it's so important. And when you have that, you're going to be able to, with a budget in mind, really start to launch ads that get the results that you need. And a lot of that has to do with funnels. And so what I mean by a funnel is launching an ad where you're offering something that people have to opt in for. And that's through giving their email address, maybe their phone number. And so by exchanging that, they might get something useful like a checklist, or they could get access to audios that is delivered to their inbox on a 5-day period, or they could participate in an awesome challenge or become part of a group. And so by offering this to your target audience, you're really making a connection with potential new clients, and bringing people through your funnel towards making a connection or making contact with you, actually. Like, yeah.
So how do people, because obviously I think this, if you asked me, if I were asked a few years ago when I started out as a coach, and you were telling me, well, you have to build a email list, like where do you even start? Who do you have the conversation? How can you build it up? What are some, tools and tips in regards to growing your audience that way?
Okay, so the email list takes time. Most importantly, it's about making connections with people where they want to give you their email. And so I'm not necessarily saying build an email list for the purpose of sending emails constantly to people's inbox. But when you have your target audience's email, this is going to be really important in that you can launch ads that will only reach those people. And also Facebook has the ability to make twin lookalike audiences based on those emails. So people who have the same behaviors, the same interests, they will also see your ad campaigns if you launch it in that way. So it's just ways that you can kind of find the right audience to see your ads on your budget
Oh
to get
wow.
the results that you want. Yeah.
It's really fascinating, Again, I'm learning something new.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that goes into a lot of like social media marketing that entrepreneurs are just not aware of. And so if you knew about these opportunities, then you'd make certain things priorities. So I should start to speak more about some of these things that coaches would benefit from. I do want to mention, I hope I'm not hurting anyone's feelings. No, actually, well, I just sympathize that a lot of coaches have to constantly plug away in groups. And also, I'm noticing a lot of coaches adding strangers to Facebook as friends and then sending them private messages, kind of like not even really necessarily trying to make a connection, just right away trying to pitch them to be their coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening to me.
Oh,
to be honest.
I've seen it too.
Yeah. Recently I was like, why do so many people want to be my coach? Like, I don't think I appear that troubled on the internet. And then I was like, oh, maybe they think I'm one of those, like, money people. Sorry. I was like, why do so many people want to be my coach? This is flattering, but please stop flooding my Facebook inbox. And I have to be honest, I don't necessarily feel like it leaves a good taste in my mouth when people are just adding me as a friend and trying to send me messages, pitch me on Facebook, because Facebook is a platform where I'd rather keep it as social as possible. And the stuff that I post there is for my friends and just more for making a friendly connection with people. I don't want to be pitched on Facebook, but I sympathize with coaches because they're trying to get clients. So I wanted to suggest like other ways to get clients than having to do that. Yeah.
What do you, in your opinion, like on today during today's date, and where do you find that, or where do you think that coaches should look for clients? What is a good platform that appeals to coaches finding good quality clients?
I think what's happening now across all social media platforms is people across so many different industries and potential customers, we're becoming so discerning and so wary because we're starting to see ads are just being fed at us constantly from so many different directions. And so because of that, we're not feeling the social in the social media, and we're becoming a lot more educated about a lot of the marketing tactics that are out there, and a lot more hesitant to opt into this sales funnel, or to want to respond to a lot of things in our inbox. And so because of this, it's really important that people who do want to generate customers through their efforts on social media, you have to just focus on providing entertainment, giving informative, giving advice, educating, and just building a connection. So a lot of that has to do with the content that you're posting.
So just keep things more personal, because, and I do agree. As we were talking earlier, I mean, even on LinkedIn, there's so many messages that I don't even get the chance to respond to, because again, a lot of the times I do find that people are just trying to, always pitch something, or, it's not that we can stop that, but how do we not fall into the same category? What can we do to, be more personal with,
Yeah, it's all like I said, focus on providing value and know your edge, know your positioning, and just be your fabulous self, and the clients will come,
Absolutely.
Use social media to be social, love yourself, and be visible, and you're going to attract people who match your frequency.
Wow, that's beautiful. So let's wrap this up with, what do you think are the 3 top most important tips for anybody in the online world or the online marketing to know, especially for
people
coaches?
who want clients through Social media.
Yes. What are
What
the
do you mean?
3 top tips?
Okay. Be visible. Um, don't be afraid to be polarizing. Don't worry about saying something, putting content out there that might offend people or turn potential customers away. Like, in the end, a lot of entrepreneurs, we have to realize that to have a happy career, we have to set boundaries and we have to set the standards in what kind of clients we want to work with. And so if you're not afraid to kind of be polarizing and just put content out there that will only attract your ideal clients, then you're going to be a lot better off.
I agree.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This has been so informative. I think I want to have to actually go back and re-listen to this and use your advices, because I know, again, as a coach, I know it's challenging because I have to learn the part of the marketing in a sense that, I have to be able to do some things on my own. And, having people like yourself giving this much value and helping out people that are finding this part challenging is just one of the best things that you can do. So I really want to thank you for all that, and really
Thank you.
appreciate the time you took, being here and providing all that wonderful knowledge.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And any coaches out there, I do not take on the marketing for coaches because I need to focus on other industries. But I love you, and I love especially female entrepreneurs because I am one, and I want to see you all succeed. So if you ever want to send me a message and just ask for advice about how you can implement certain digital marketing strategies, just send me a message and I'll just help you.
Which brings me, let's wrap it up with this. Where can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Marianna Fowles. I guess we could type this when we post it, or on Facebook. Very easy to find on Facebook. I'm a rock star over there.
Well, thank you
I
so
have
much.
like 5 pages. It's ridiculous.
Well, thank you so much once again. It's been such a pleasure. And thank you for sharing your wisdom. And we hope to see you again in the near future.
Thank you, Catalina.
My
Bye.
pleasure. We'll see you guys soon.